There's two words that you generally don't hear in landscape photography: stop and wait. You always hear, well, I say it all the time, get out and take some great photos. You hear, look for your leading lines, look for your compositions, look for your light, look for this, look for this, look for this. Very rarely do we ever talk about waiting, stopping. I've been taking photos for a very long time, and most of my photos have been okay. I do decently. I do, make a couple of great photos once in a while. My photos didn't start to become great until I learned patience. Any of you guys that know me know I am not a patient person. I am very impatient, very impulsive, will just run off in a direction saying, "Ooh, this looks good." But when I started to learn a little bit of patience and waiting something out a little bit, that's when my photography started to improve. And it could be any scenario, whether it's landscape, whether it's wildlife photography, could even be portrait photography, whatever style photography you're into. The point being is you wait for the opportune moment to take your photo. You're sitting around, you see something good, you see something interesting, take the photo, but wait it out a little bit. When you wait it out a little bit, a couple of things happen. So I'm going to show you a photo here. So this photo is a nice photo. It's a bald eagle in a tree, very majestic looking, very nice looking. Campground that I was at, we had some bald eagles around. I had been tracking them, for about an hour or so, seeing them fly around. One of them landed, this one landed in the tree. Took the photo. Was like, this is kind of interesting, this is kind of neat. I mean, who doesn't love a bald eagle? I love bald eagles. If you guys have been following me, you know I love the bald eagles. This bald eagle's in the tree. It's hanging out, it's doing its thing, looking majestic, as they do. I said, I'm just gonna wait for a few minutes here. Gonna wait this out, see what it does. The worst thing that happens, the worst thing that could happen, flies away. Nothing happens. I still have a pretty decent photo. I waited 5 minutes. Eagle takes off, so I start tracking him, seeing where he's going. At which point, eagle comes into a dive, coming across, so I just start taking photos, going across. This eagle comes down, snatches a fish up out of the lake, and takes off. So that allowed me to create this photo, which is a sequence of 4 photos of that action happening. So just by waiting 5 minutes, I went from cool photo, eagle in a tree, looking majestic, like I said, as eagles do, to action. So I went from something kind of ordinary, interesting but ordinary, to something with some action in it, to something with some drama in it, something with, a story to tell. This is an eagle that is fishing. So now that we see what you can get and what the benefits are of waiting out, especially in wildlife photography, doing landscape photography is very similar to that respect. Because of the fact that you are, taking photos of a static scene, you may not need to wait for anything. And I did it for years. I'd see something interesting, I'd show up, I'd take my photo and say, that's good enough. Or actually, the phrase that I used to use that would actually upset some of my friends was, good enough for government work, which kind of has a bad implication to it, or a not so great implication to it. So any government workers out there, I look forward to your letters. So I started waiting out some of my landscape photography. Today is overcast, so there's really not much dynamic change happening, but you take a photo, wait for the light to change, wait for the clouds to move, wait for the angle of the sun to change. That patience and that waiting will help you, not only get a progression of the scene as things change, but also be able to give you an opportunity to maybe catch something dramatic that you might not have if you just went, click, good enough, I'll see you later. So an example of that is actually my recent Smoky Mountains trip. I went up to the Ben Morton Overlook. I got there at about 6 o'clock. The sunset wasn't until 8:30. I had 2.5 hours to kill. I was bored out of my mind. Took a bunch of photos. There were a bunch of other photographers that came and went. A couple of them took their photo, good enough, and took off, which is fine. That works for them. I wanted to see what else that I could get. By waiting and giving a span of about 40 to 45 minutes, I started with this photo to get this photo. So just waiting out a sunset, waiting out a scenario, you know, I had seen some clouds moving in. I had seen, you know, some of the haze was changing, the light was changing. I wasn't sure what this was going to look like, but because I waited out, I got this really cool photo of the valley, some nice darker tones with a perfectly round, like bright red-orange sun because of haze, smoke in the air from wildfires out west. Really got a great photo because I waited it out. If I didn't wait it out, I would have had this initial photo. That would have been fantastic, but by waiting it out, I was able to get something just a little bit better. So there you have it. You know, waiting out your photos, having a little bit of patience to wait for your scene to change really can make a huge dynamic difference in your photo. It can really make a huge dynamic difference in your overall composition. The light may change, you may see something differently and be able to recompose your photo to take something new. Being able to be patient, being able to wait it out, and waiting for an event to finish. If you're going out for sunrise, you wait until the sun has risen and you get past that golden hour. You wait until after sunset, once the sun is completely gone, you know, before you get last light. Big dynamic difference in the type of photo. So being able to wait it out and see what you can get by waiting for your photos really can influence your final result. So to use some baseball parlance here, or baseball terminology here, you know, you don't win Rookie of the Year in April. Just doesn't happen, you know. You can have a really good April, but there's still a whole lot of season left to play before you get Rookie of the Year. Same thing goes with photography. You go show up for your event, you might have an hour to take all the photos that you want, take all the photos that you need, but you have that entire timeline to grab everything that you can. So that about wraps it up for this week. Thank you very much for coming along with me on this. I hope you got a little bit out of this. Maybe, you can apply that to the next photo that you go to take, the next photo that you plan. Like I said, taking a little bit of time, a little bit of extra time, a little bit of patience can help you come away with a much more interesting and dynamic photo potentially. So thank you again. I really do appreciate everybody's support. If you can give me a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also check the description for links to my social media. And if you want to follow me there, that would be great as well. Like I said, thank you very much. I really do appreciate everybody coming with me on this journey, and get out there, take some great photos, and maybe you'll end up with a better day than I have. So thank you very much, and I'll see you again next week. Take care.